When using input function, when a user presses enter key, input function reads a line from the console, returns to the program, and continues executing next line of code. As a programmer, every time we are using input function, we have to be mindful of two things. First, the input function takes the information that the user entered, in this case 234, and returns it into the string format, even if the input was a numerical value, such as in this example. We cannot add entered value of age to an integer. So let's say if we wanted to do another example here, saying in 10 years how old you will be. So let's say print in 10 years you will be, let's say age, we wanted to add 8 to 10 and say years old. So if we were to do something like this, and when the user enters age, let's say 32 years old, and press enter, it would give out an error because here we are trying to add a string data type to an integer data type. The type error basically says we can only concatenate string to string, but age plus 10, it's basically string with integer trying to be concatenated. So there's a type error. In another example, instead of comma, let's say we can also do plus age, or remove this, and let's run this again. Age is 34. It would still give out same output with the plus age, but we're not doing addition here. We are just concatenating this string with the age string rather than an addition operation. But if we intend to do arithmetic operations, we will have to first cast the user input into integer format or a floating point number or other suitable data type before such statements. For example, if we were to do something like this without error, we would have to pass that age as an integer value and then use that with addition plus 10 years old. Try it again. 35 years old. Now it is showing me my current age is 35, and in 10 years you will be 45 years old. Not doing this type conversion to reformat a string is one of the main reasons programmers run into issues later in the development phase. Second thing that we have to be mindful is that the input that the user provides can be empty or indifferent or undesirable format or values. In our example program that asks user for their age, we can't simply assume that the user will enter a positive value. User could mistakenly or deliberately provide a negative value, and our code can then have a butterfly effect or chaotic result. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So when we entered positive value, there's no error, there's no issue at all. The current age is shown, and then in 10 years how old you will be shown. Let's run that again, and instead of positive value, enter a negative value. Program still runs without error, but there's an issue here, as the current age is negative value. The user entered undesirable value here that the developer didn't envision, and what happened is that negative value is received and the current age is stored as a negative value. Well, we know age cannot be a negative value, so there's an issue with how the program was developed here. So we need to implement some kind of logic to avoid these kind of scenarios. For example, if we want to take care of potential negative value entered for age, we could implement conditional statement with a while loop to take care of this problem. So in this case, this would be my input, and I would put that under a while loop. A while not done, I would keep asking that, and what is done? So let's define done as a false value, and let's also define age to be default at 0. And while not done, we would keep asking age to the user. And then here we need conditional logic saying if age is more than or equal to 0, then we do something, and what we do is print this statement. Your current age is that value, and we need to change this to a float because age by default is a string after this input statement. So convert that to float, and then we do this comparison operation. If it is a positive number or 0, then we print the current age. We change done back to true so that the while loop ends. But what happens if float age is less than 0, we will print output saying print age cannot be a negative value. Please try again. And that would be our message to the user. We can get rid of this and see how this code works. Enter your age. So let's say we entered 9. Current age is 9, which works fine. Run it again and enter a negative value, and it correctly shows it cannot be a negative value. Please try again, and we try again. We enter a positive value, and the program ends again. So as you saw, this example will take care of potential negative values entered for age. However, it won't be enough as user can still enter empty value like in this case, and we run into other issues. Again, when we run this, user can enter a string and then we also run into other issues. So empty value or any non-numerical value and the program won't work. So we need to further tweak the program to take care of those scenarios into considerations. We won't go over all these scenarios in this video. We will discuss Python exception handling for this purpose in a separate video. The intent here is to show, and hopefully you got the idea, that in real life applications, if we fail to limit what the user can input, user will enter whatever they want, sometimes even malicious code. And this can create serious problems when executing the rest of the code. So it is something that we need to be careful of when taking user inputs. Hope this was helpful in understanding Python framework or getting keyboard inputs. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.